Wanapiga bunduki ya nguvu. Mange. Sikia Burundi.
Well, after hours of intense fighting, the M23 has yet again claimed another town in Eastern DRC. And this is a very strategic town to the militia that are supporting the FARDC, that is the Congolese army, in fighting the insurgencies in Eastern DRC. As well as the fact that in that particular fight, there were militia that switched side from fighting alongside the FARDC to fighting with the M23. Why does this keep happening in Eastern DRC? Why do we have militia or the police or the FARDC Congolese men fighting alongside the government, changing side to fight with the M23? That is part of the story that I'm going to tell you in this video, as well as the mining and security deal that Felix Tshisekedi has offered Donald J. Trump to assist him in quelling the insurgency in Eastern DRC. Well, this is Bonafide. If you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe and hit that notification button so that when I release something new on the DRC crisis, you get notified as soon as possible. Well, after intense fighting with the APCLS militia that is aligned to the DRC government, the M23 took over Nyabiondo. Nyabiondo is located at the entrance of Walikale territory. It's a strategic area that has been a stronghold for the armed groups aligned with the DRC government, including the NDCR, led by Guidon Shimirei Muisa. This is a particular strategic point where the allied militia of the FARDC were fighting the M23. And the M23 went in there hours ago, late Sunday to early Monday. They fought in a very intense fighting in that particular place, and they managed to take over that particular town. And perhaps the fuel that is making the M23 to have its advancement this fast in Eastern DRC are the disgruntlement among the militia that are supporting the Congolese government in Eastern DRC. Because there are reports that just last week there were clashes between pro-Congolese militia in village of Tambi, about 18 kilometers northeast of the town of Masisi, on March 5th, that left many civilian casualties. This is not the first time that we are reporting clashes between allied militia in the FARDC that are supporting the government. There is some kind of discord between the allied militia that is making it easier for the M23 to fight the government or allied militia that are supporting the Congolese government in Eastern DRC. This also happened in the fight close to Uvira when there was a Lendo forces turned their guns against the FARDC that made it easier for the M23 to take over territories close to Uvira. And this is the same situation that is now happening even in Nyabiondo. And this disgruntlement, the issues between the allied militia that are supporting the government, is part of the reason as to why many are leaving the militia supporting the FARDC and changing side to support the M23. And this was reported by the spokesperson of the M23 that government militias switched side to join the movement of the M23 in that particular clash, as well as the spokesperson of the APCLS went on air to affirm that it is true that some of his militia men switched side to fight with the M23, but there are people who remained loyal to the militia and they will continue to fight the M23. So this has been happening in Eastern DRC because of the lack of coordination between the militia that are fighting against the M23 in Eastern DRC. That has made it easier for the M23 to take more territory in Eastern DRC. It has also made it easier for the case that the M23 has against the government, because once you are mistreating or people feel not included in that particular alignment, then they choose sides and they choose to fight for the enemy. And that makes it very difficult for the allied militia of the FARDC to fight the insurgency in Eastern DRC. And the US State Department has also said that it is open to exploring critical mineral partnerships with Congo after a Congolese senator contracted the US official to pitch a minerals for security deal with the US. So this is part of Tshisekedi's moves to gain that international community support. We have seen him out there asking countries to sanction Rwanda because they say that Rwanda is behind the insurgency that is happening in Eastern DRC. In fact, President Tshisekedi is saying that there is nothing like the M23. These are Rwandan soldiers, the RDF, fighting in Eastern DRC so that they can claim South and North Kivu provinces for themselves. Mind you, if you are new to this, South and North Kivu are the provinces that have a lot of minerals. A lot of these well sought after minerals like coltan and cobalt are found in North and South Kivu in plenty. And that is the reason as to why Felix Tshisekedi is asking all countries to either sanction Rwanda or to criticize Rwanda for the role that he says it is taking in this fight in Eastern DRC. Well, Tshisekedi went on even to propose a mineral deal with the US government. Well, right now we know that President Trump is very, very appreciative of deals wherever they can find deals. You know what is happening with Ukraine and Russia. There is a mining deal also in that. So it is easier, it is far much easier. And I think that is the strategy that Felix Tshisekedi is aiming at. That is the diplomacy that he is aiming at when he wants to approach President Trump into assisting him in the security crisis in Eastern DRC. Well, the US right now is considering that deal, and if the US, of course, takes that deal, it means that the US will have its companies working in Eastern DRC, and that means that if the US has its companies working in Eastern DRC, they will have enough protection to make sure that no rebel will be allowed by the US government to go anywhere close these minerals. These minerals are earning M23 a lot of money because they are taxing, they are selling these minerals. Just the other day, the Congolese government came and said that no country should allow the minerals that are mined in Eastern DRC in the territories that are controlled by the M23, that these minerals should not be allowed by any country and that they are not from Congo. In fact, Congo imposed a tax on these territories that are controlled by the M23, saying that the goods that are coming from these areas that are controlled from, saying that goods that are coming from these areas that are controlled by the M23 will have to pay import duty for any goods that will leave that particular area into areas that are controlled by the DRC. So that is a stalemate that is ongoing in the DRC. The Congolese government is seeking to get that American protection in Eastern DRC. In Tshisekedi's perspective, this will be a lasting solution to the crisis in Eastern DRC. This will be the hammer that will stop the M23 from advancing in Eastern DRC. I will continue to keep you updated on what is happening in Eastern DRC regarding the Congo crisis and the advancement of the M23 in Eastern DRC.